So welcome to Solway Aviation Museum near Carlisle, in fact just on the edge of Carlisle Airport, where they have a selection of ex-military aircraft. A fantastic small local museum, definitely worth a visit. Can I please see your tickets? Wonderful. You're facing backwards. So I'm assuming you've booked for the skydiving experience, is that correct? And the cat got your tongue. Okay.
Yes, it's tight in here. So.
Yes, I don't think it was designed for luxury.
We've got the crew of 5, so we've got the captain or pilot in this position, the co-pilot in this position, air electronics officer where you're sitting. In the middle is the navigation plotter, and in the far corner navigation radar. There was an additional, what they call a jump seat, if they were taking a crew chief or someone later in the Vulcan's life, they would have done air experience flights, but that generally wasn't used. So obviously the captain in charge of the mission and responsible for the aircraft, assisted by the co-pilot, who was generally an experienced pilot but not necessarily on the Vulcan, so he will be learning from the captain. Principally his jobs were to monitor the fuel. There was 14 fuel tanks on the aircraft, and he would monitor the flow between the tanks to keep the trim of the aircraft, so that they would ensure that the fuel should all be done automatically, but he'd keep an eye on it to make sure it was happening. A general mission would be something like 8 hours. If they needed to extend that, depending on what their mission was, then there was the flexibility of refuelling mid-flight, but the refuelling probe was taken off of this one in 82 at the start of the Falklands War, because this aircraft had been converted to a maritime reconnaissance role and wasn't capable of going down to the Falklands because she had extra fuel tanks, but in effect no usable bomb bay.
When did they stop flying? It wasn't that long
82
ago.
At the end of 82. They were already
As long
they
as
were
ago
already
as that.
designed to be retired, but then the Falklands War came along and they obviously extended because it was the only long range bomber we had.
Right, okay. So are there any of these bombers still flying?
No. The
So
last
maybe
one
that's maybe what I'm thinking about.
the last one flew in 2015, which was
that's
558.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about.
And she was pensioned off.
So this might sound like a very silly question, but 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's quite a long time. What do you do if you need to use the facilities?
Well, the only facilities on board were this.
Oh, okay. You
You
can guess what that's for.
Yeah. Obviously an all-male crew.
Is that
So they had to use that, and they would have taken medication to
Stop this.
stop
it really?
anything else. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Stop at anything else.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To bung them up.
Yes.
In other words. So they'd have taken their rations with them, which would have been sandwiches and maybe a flask of tea or coffee. But if they wanted hot food, they had electric heaters. Each position has got one. There's 3 underneath,
Oh, okay.
and they would have heated up their
I can't.
cans of soup or stew.
That's it.
You'll see that the front 2 seats are ejector seats, so the captain and the co-pilot could eject.
Okay.
The guys in the back had to go out the way that you came in.
What do you mean eject?
Like
Shoot out.
through the roof.
And then what?
Well, they escaped.
Hopefully
and these
float
don't.
down.
So these guys down and die and these escape?
No.
Yes.
No, these guys, they would have a means of escaping
Yeah.
through this through
If
the
time
entrance.
and circumstances permitted, the captain would try and maintain level flight so that these guys can get out,
And then these guys.
and then they go. But on a number of occasions, they didn't have that luxury, so these guys just went.
So did we lose
Yeah.
Bob? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 17 or 19 crashed, and out of that, half of the crew survived. In the other half, it split down the middle again. So out of the half, so say for example, 8 aircraft crashed. 4 of those there was total loss of the crew,
Okay.
and on the other 4, the 2 ejected and left the.
And what
guys
was
in
that?
the back.
Mechanical issues mostly.
It was electrical faults, fires, and one of the first crashes was Heathrow coming in to land at Heathrow Airport. They'd just done a world tour,
Oh, right.
I think in 53, 54, something like that. And it was very bad weather, and the pilot made the decision to land and basically got it wrong, and the pilot and the co-pilot just ejected and left the 3 guys in the back.
Gosh.
In fact, I think it might have been 4. I think there might have been an extra one.
And so the position down there, is that bomb
Well,
targeting?
when it was designed, they were still very much thinking of the bomb aimer laying down on his belly, looking through a bomb sight. But that changed rapidly with the advances in the radar. So everything moved across to that position. So this became redundant. But when she was changed to a maritime reconnaissance role, that gantry down there would have held a big camera, and she'd have taken photographs of ships, which would have, and the photographs would have been analysed back home.
What surprises me about these aircraft is when you're sitting in the pilot's seat, the visibility isn't that great.
No.
In any of them, really.
If you've ever seen the sort of the Second World War, the Spitfire and the Hurricane, what they were called tail draggers, so you couldn't see out the front.
Right.
So whenever they were taxiing, they had to keep weaving with their hatch, their cockpit open, so they could almost lean out to
really?
sea.
Oh, okay.
And this almost carries on with that role, even to the extent of the some of the spy planes that the Americans use still
yes, is it
can't see.
Is it the U-2? They have a car trailing behind. Yes.
It says here, Vulcans flew some very long-range missions.
Yes.
In June 1961, one flew 18,507 kilometers from RAF Scrampton to Sydney in just over 20 hours.
Yes.
Facilitated by 3 air refuelings.
Yes.
So presumably when this was constructed, this was sort of the height of technology at the time.
It was. I mean, it was designed. The specification was issued by the government in 1947, 2 years after the end of the Second World War, and by the early 50s, the prototypes were flying. So 51, 52. The B1 version, because this is a B2. The B1 version was flying in, I think, 52, 53.
And presumably there's no air defence on this, it's just high altitude.
All you've got is electronic countermeasures.
Right.
Which is just jamming the signal of a missile that would have been fired up. So electronic countermeasures, flares or chaff.
Yes.
That's all that there was.
Yeah. So this was the nuclear deterrent, but then it switched to the submarines.
It switched to submarines in '69 with the Polaris.
Right. So we don't. Do we still have? I mean, I know we've got a nuclear deterrent, but do we still have aeroplanes that carry nuclear weapons?
None that they'll admit to.
Right.
But almost certainly the Typhoon, the multi-role aircraft that we've got are all capable of delivering a small nuclear device, but they don't admit to it.
Yeah, but nothing specifically built and designed for that sole purpose of.
All of our aircraft fighters are all multi-role, so they can do any function.
Yes.
And that's why you don't have big aircraft like this anymore.
Right.